Hi, this is Dr. Mahoney, and I'm going to show you how to do pivot tables in Excel. Pivot tables are a neat little tool that allows you to quickly analyze data by subtotals of various different categories. It's much more efficient than manually sorting your data and typing in sum functions and adding numbers together. So let's go ahead and click on the Data tab here. And you will notice that I have 4 columns of data: a country, salesperson, sales date, and sales amount. So a pivot table would quickly allow me to see what are the sales by person, what are the sales by country, or what are the sales by date, or any combination of those, such as what are the sales by person and date. You may want to consider typing in this information into your Excel spreadsheet so you can work along with me. So you will notice that when I arrange my data table, you will notice there's no empty columns or rows, such as here I'm going to insert a column. I don't have an extra column because if you don't have that, your pivot table is you can do it faster and much more efficiently. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that column. So what you want to do when you do a pivot table is put your cursor in the middle of your data. Anywhere there is fine. And then you want to go ahead and click on the Insert tab, and you'll notice there on the left-hand side is Data Tables. So I'm going to click on Data Tables. So the first thing that pops up is this pop-up box, and Excel tries to figure out, is this your data? In my case, it is, and you will notice the dotted line that goes all along. If I want a bigger area, smaller area, I could go in and manually adjust it. And then you have the option of putting this in a new worksheet, or you can put it right here in the existing worksheet. I'm going to go ahead and put mine into a new worksheet since that is what you need to do with your assignment. And I'm going to say OK. So what happens here is this is where my pivot table will appear. And you will notice over here on the right-hand side is the list of the column names that I have. And down below, we're going to work on the columns, the rows, and the value boxes. And we're not going to do with filters today since that's pretty advanced. So what you need to do is drag down your column to the appropriate place that you want. So I'm going to go ahead and let's just say I want to know sales amount by customer. Excuse me, sales amount by salesperson. So I'm going to go ahead and left-hand click on the salesperson, hold that left click down, and drag it down to row. You will notice here that the salespeople's names automatically appeared. Then I'm going to left-hand click on sales amount, hold it down, and bring it down to the values. So now I can easily see the sales by salesperson. Okay. If I wanted to add country to that variable, I could left-hand click on country and bring it down here. And now I can see sales by country by salesperson. Now you will notice that Excel doesn't automatically format it, so for anytime you produce a spreadsheet, you want it to look nice. So I'm going to go ahead and color this in and do format this with currency and no decimal places. So to format it, I'm going to click on the Home tab. I'm going to click on the $sign. And then if I don't want my zeros, I'm going to get rid of my pennies. Okay. If I want more pennies, I can add it. Less, I can delete it. But now you'll notice that I got a problem with the USA. These number signs mean the column isn't wide enough for me to display my data. So to widen them, I can take my cursor so it's between C and D on the line, and now it's a thin crossed. Left-hand click on my keyboard, hold it down, and drag it across, and that makes it wide enough. Now the other thing is you can double-click it and it makes it just wide enough. So now we have a neat little pivot table that goes ahead and tells us what the sales are by person and country. So if I click back on it, you will notice these filters come back up. I also want to show you the values. Perhaps I don't want to know the total values of my sales, but I want to know the count. How many sales do they have? So if you click on this sum of sales and click on value field setting, you will notice here that I have several options to choose from. I can sum it, count, average, min, max, standard deviations, variances, etc. So I'm going to click on count and say OK. And notice here now it tells me the number of sales I had. Now, of course, in this situation, dollar signs would not be relevant, so I'm going to take that off and remove my zeros again. So this tells me the number of sales that person has. So again, if you go down to the values field and do a drop down and click on value field settings, you can change that information to what is being requested. All right, I'm going to go back to my data field now, and let's do another pivot table, and let's assume that now I want to know sales by month. So again, I'm going to put my cursor in the middle. I'm going to click on the Data tab, Insert tab, excuse me, and click on Pivot Table. I'm going to go to a new table and say OK. And I said I wanted to know the sales by month, so I'm going to bring down the date in the row and the sales amount and the value. All right, so this is telling me the sales by certain date, but not by month. So in order to get the month, what you need to do is click your cursor on a field in the date, and on the Pivot Table Tools tab, you will notice there's a group field. So we're going to click on this group field, and here I have some options to group by year, quarter, day, etc. So Excel tries to anticipate what we want, and we do want month. So I'm going to say OK, and now I have sales by month. Again, I want to format that nicely, so I'm going to color that in. And we're going to go to the Home tab, click on $ and no decimal places. So that's a quick little tool on how to do pivot tables. If you have any questions about your assignment, please send me an email or come and talk to me in class.